Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and hit that bell. Stay alert when we release new videos. Well guys, I figured I'd give you an update on the farm here today. A lot has changed here in the last several days. With the weather, we got a lot of rain. So all the leaves and grass and weeds and everything is really sprouting up, and just the scene out here is changing quite a bit. But I figured I'd bring you along, give an update on the goats and the pigs and the chickens and kind of what's going on here at the farm right now. So let's go take a look at the animals. Let's go see how they're doing. Good morning. What's going on, Garth and Wayne? Good morning. Good morning, guys. Let's put this block here. Good morning. We usually keep the door open for them during the day so they can come out here in the pasture and eat, but they've been doing really good. They're so sweet, huh, Garth? Little Wayne here. Good morning. How are you? You want your breakfast? Better give them their breakfast. We give them grain mixed with some alfalfa pellets and some sunflower seeds and whatnot mixed into their feed for every day. They get a half a cup of that each, so we put about a cup of that in the feeder every morning. Other than that, they get the free eat, their hay that's in here. They've got a hay feeder and their minerals that are down here, and of course they get to go out into the pasture and graze out there. But they definitely love their morning grain. They have to come and get me every time I come in here. All right, guys, you hungry? You hungry? You want your grain? We do a little pre-mix in here so that we can get everything. We measure it out. That way they don't overeat on their grain. Is that good? There you go. We'll raise those feeders up a little bit too once they get a little older. As they're young right now, we just left it down. We'll raise it up to the next rung up there. I just wanted to make sure they can get it easier, especially the smaller one, Wayne. Call him Little Wayne. So they're doing good in here. Usually it just takes that in the morning, breakfast out here, and then open it up so they can graze out here in the pasture as needed. This is kind of their safe room in here, the stall. They get startled or anything scares them outside. In the pasture, they'll run right up in here in the stall and hang out on their bench up there, which is a good sign. And I also came in and reinforced this wall. So you would have seen on probably one of the previous videos, I built this wall out when we were building the goat stall in preparation for the goats. I just had this this is actually what we use for the puppies when Mila had puppies a couple times. This is her brooder box that we had built. That's the base of it. And I was trying to repurpose it up here. Figured we would use it for a gate, so what I did is went ahead and put a latch on the door up here, and then we have hinges down the side right there, and so now it's a fully functioning stall door that works to get us into the middle stall. And right now the middle stall, we just kind of keep all the feed and whatnot for the goats. So if you got extra hay, although we'll probably just get a fresh bale for them for that. Minerals, we've got some First Saturday lime and their feed. And then we have over in this bin here, there's some alfalfa pellets that are in there. So we've got a middle stall pretty much ready to go in case we need to use it for any animals, isolation, or anything new coming into the farm. Right now we don't have any plans for anything new, but it's here in case we do have it. And the door does open to here, so we can go in and out of this stall right now without having to worry about the pigs or the goats getting in between on this one. Speaking of pigs, they're doing really good. Good morning, pigs. So they're growing like weeds as well. What's up? What's going on, Garth? We keep their feed and water filled up out here, and again, we have these other paddock open. They've got the big paddock over here, the old paddock, and their nursery paddock that's here. I still need to get over and get the T-post put up in paddock 2 so we can get that taken care of. We'll get that done here very shortly. I have the T-posts. I just was waiting on the time and the weather and all that to get here. So a lot of other stuff higher on the priority list that I was trying to knock out, but we'll get out here and get them moved over to paddock 2 eventually and rotate them down through. I'd like to get the rotational paddock set up so that we can be done with that. But they're growing, and they're growing fast. What? The goats keep jumping on me. They want me to come out here and hang out with them out in the pasture. Although we leave the door open for them to come out whenever they want, they don't tend to just hang out and eat and spend time out in the pasture too much unless one of us is out here. So we usually come out and sit down like this and hang out with them for a little while, a couple times a day, just so that they get comfortable with us and get a chance to come out here and comfortably eat out in the pasture. What's going on, Wayne? Or Garth, I should say. And our goats are named Wayne and Garth. Wayne is a smaller black one, a darker brown here, and Garth is the lighter colored one. And we do name them Wayne and Garth from the old movie, Wayne's World. That's where we got the names from. But they're really awesome. They're so sweet. They love coming up and cuddling and saying hi. They've got really nice personalities. They're really cool. Over here, where these 2 openings are in the barn where I braced it, what I plan on doing here, I think Jerry and I were talking about it. We're probably going to pour some cement in these 2 areas here, and this is going to be where the pigs, our sows, will be able to have their litter of piglets. We'll have a gate on the back that goes into the pig paddock area, and we've got a dedicated area that's going to be permanent fencing for these 2 stalls, or it might just be one big one. We're not quite sure. But we're going to use this as kind of the pig area. We might even keep one to keep Big Red in, keep him isolated, and then the other one could be for the sow and piglets. But either way, we're going to utilize this down the road. We're going to cement the ground and frame that all in properly. So that's going to be nice to have that there. Over here on the compost piles, I used some of the old plywood that was in the goat stall when we had to take that out, drug it over here. And then that old piece of plywood that was over at the chicken coop for a couple months there, back when wintertime was here. I just set that here, and that's gonna suppress the weeds and keep it flat. Whenever I go to actually do a big turn on the pile again, I'll just turn it right on top of the plywood over there, and then I can rearrange more plywood here. That way we have a kind of an area where I don't have to continuously pull weeds out of the compost. Defeats the whole purpose. The existing compost pile that is growing, this is the one that's active, meaning that this is what we're throwing our stuff into. And this compost pile is the aged one, the older one, that's pretty much ready to go to use in potting soil and in the garden. It's just a lot going on. We got the compost piles all taken care of now, and then the pond here for the duck pond, that's eventually coming. We've got all those rocks or chunks of cement from the basement put in there, and we've even now got some weeds growing through it. It's all looking more natural here with all the springtime blooming going on with all the trees and flowers and whatnot. Good morning, good morning. Daddy Duck and Pie are still doing good. They're actually, Jerry and I seen them the other day mating actually, so we're going to be building a duck box, a separate house so they don't have to house with the chickens, and kind of break up the chicken runs here a little bit so they have their dedicated area. That way we can let Pi lay and sit on a clutch of her own eggs, and hopefully we'll hatch out some Muscovies here. Jerry actually came out here the other day and she added a new run onto the chicken runs, a new area. This one goes all the way down the length of the runs and is about, we'll say about 6-7 foot wide here. We'll say 20 feet or so. She cut a door in the existing run right there where that chicken's at on that board to allow them to come through in here. We actually had it blocked off though. That's what I was a little confused here. Jerry had a few logs stacked so that they couldn't get up there because she's trying to let the grass grow back because they'll eat that real fast. It looks like the chickens, the wind or something pushed those logs out of the way, so they're out in this run. So we're gonna have to get in there and get them back out of here. The baby chickens have been doing really good. I've been moving them around on the pasture here every day, about once a day right now. We're getting close to 2. I pretty much used up this space in here. It's not a whole lot. About a week's worth of moving in here, and then you kind of run out and we have to move it. So we're at a point where we're gonna have to start moving our chickens out farther into the pasture that way. So I'm gonna have to take down the Premier One fence and just slide everything this way. But the chickens are getting huge. They really are. But look at the size of these birds. We still have, I think June 18th or something like that is the date that's slated for harvest for these chickens. And they are huge. Look at the size of this bird. It's all right. These things are getting huge already. Ugh. They are nasty though. All right. I'm gonna just get another scoop of food, put it in here for them. Just let them free eat, and they get the free range on the grass and whatnot in here too. But to keep them growing and plumping and be as the biggest return we can get come harvest date, I like to keep free food in there for them so they can continuously eat, and they do. Those Cornish cross chickens, they just eat non-stop. I'll have to get out here this afternoon and move the fence, let it dry up a little bit here. That's all I do. I just stick it in, put the loop over from the bow, and pull the excess to pull it nice and tight. Just like that, we got the line back hot. We're good to go. What? That's Garth making all the noise up there. What are you doing in here, Copper? Copper's trying to get back with his ladies. We do let Copper in and out of the pen of the chicken runs. He goes in and out. We just have him out right now because there was a chasing Pi around the other day, and we just didn't like that. It's not all the time, just here and there, but give him a break every once in a while to just be out here. He's doing all right though. All right, I guess while I'm here, looks like the ducks and chickens are asking me for a little bit of food. There I go. I don't put scratch out every morning, but we did it today just to throw something out for him. Daddy Duck prefers the scratch grain over the layer feed, which is expected. So I always make sure I put a pile for Daddy and a pile of layer feed down for Pi, so she has that. All right, let's just get this area fixed up over here. There we go. Just had to block that door back off again like Jerry wanted it so we can get that grass to grow back in there. They already snuck back in there today. All right, we hit on the chickens, the ducks, the pigs, and the goats, as well as the meat birds here. So I guess the next thing up is the garden. And no, we haven't got the garden fence put up. I know, it's way past due. We were a little nervous last night because we had one of the neighbor's dogs, a couple of their dogs got loose and were running around. We were really nervous that they were going to be running through the garden and tearing up all the hard work that Jerry's been putting into it, because this is Jerry's baby out here. She's been coming out and weeding. She's did all the planting, and it's really coming together. You'll see that there are weeds growing in on the mounds. We are going to be taking care of that. Jerry has been doing a lot of weeding, although it's been several days since we've been out here to weed, and we've got a lot of rain and sunlight in between there, so a lot of weeds have popped. We are going to try to get one of the little, I guess, torches, I think they are. It's like a handheld torch that you can use to burn weeds, easier to manage the garden. But with that being said, here's the garden. It's coming along pretty good, guys. A lot of things are really blooming out, especially the corn has taken off. Corn was one of the very first things, may have been the very first thing that we did plant in here. But here's the corn. Got row there on this side, and then we're starting to get some on this row and down this row. And again, this half of the garden, we never mulched any of the paths. So you see where the mulch stops way over there. I just haven't had time or the money to go get additional mulch for this. So we're trying to do what we can with what we have. And it's working out so far. And Jerry's doing a phenomenal job keeping up with the weeds and just everything out here. You'll see here different crops. Things are really popping out here. Now, I don't have the diagram, the paper to explain what's what through here. I can say on the edges of all of the hills, all the mounds, like here, here, down on the edges, she put onions down. So we do have onions all the way down the middle row on both sides on the edge. So she ended up doing with the onions. I do plan on doing like a more official garden tour once everything's built out a little farther and a little more advanced and kind of filling in a little bit better. I'll have Jerry kind of explain what's where and the reasoning behind the layout. But for now, we'll just keep an eye on it, and I'm anxiously waiting to get the fence up. But guys, check this out. Look at the potatoes. They are taking off. And again, we've got about 4, maybe 5 different varieties of potatoes here. They're all bushing out really nicely here. So that makes me very happy. Hopefully we get a pretty good return on all the potatoes. Although the seeds that we put in when we did those little tiny seeds, we haven't really seen any of those taken off. We'll keep an eye on it here to see if any sprouts come up, but I'm not thinking that they are. So if they don't, the alternative is I think we're going to put in some carrots or some other root vegetable in these last 2 rows. That's Jerry. We'll have to ask her what we're going to do. All right, so that's the garden. Our hay field is getting close. We've got the front field here and the back field back behind the pasture where the goats are that we hay every year. And it's getting tall. We're getting close to our May cutting, our first cutting for the year. The bottom part of the hay field below the garden is a lot better. It's a lot thicker, nicer grass. We're still in the process of liming and fertilizing these fields to try to clean them up a little better, get a little bit better grass for our hay every year. So, but you'll see it's pretty tall. There's different areas that are taller. I think the tallest part's probably close to my waist high, to be honest. So my neighbor Dan has been helping me out baling my hay every year. We got a deal worked out where he takes half of the bales and I keep the bales. He's got all the equipment and he spends his time and labor out on my fields, getting it all cut, raked, dried out, and baled. So I'm really appreciative of that, because we get able to take our own hay bales from our own fields and put them in our barn. But here's the some of the taller stuff here. It's getting up there. Before you know it, we'll be picking up hay bales from the field, stacking them in the barn. All right, so let's give you an update on our fruit trees and bushes. Our blueberries are looking really good, guys. They're getting pretty close here. You'll see the berries all developing out very nicely. The smaller blueberry bush is developing out as well, as budding out. We've got berries on this bush as well. It's just a fraction of the size of the bigger one. The two new blueberries are still doing good. They're down here, they're pretty healthy and growing very nicely. Unfortunately, all of the, or I should say the majority of the peaches that were on here, the little fruit buds that we had some pretty heavy rain with strong winds that came through, and I think most of them kind of got broken off or had fallen off. But you'll see, here's one here, one there. We'll see what survives, if we can get any peaches off this. I'm hoping so. I'm rooting for it, at least. The apple tree, again, all the trees here budded out or fruiting out, which is a good sign. The apple trees here, some apples. It's filled out pretty good. We did go through and we put in some traps in all the fruit trees here. You'll see up here, there's some sort of sticky, tacky material on the inside with some attractant that we put in there. So the bugs, when they go in there, they'll get stuck and won't be able to come out. So that's supposed to help with all the invasive moths and flies and stuff that might eat the leaves and fruits off our fruit trees. We're gonna give that a try this year and see if that works. But the apple tree is looking really healthy, at least. And of course the pear tree is the pear tree. It's gonna be full pears again this year, guys. You see pears just about everywhere on the pear tree. So pear tree's doing good. I'm not worried about that one. And look at this plum tree, guys. If only we can get some of these to stay on here. The ground is just covered with the plums that have fallen off the tree. But you see, it's so much fruit on these trees. There's plums everywhere on it, and although last year we only got like 1 or 2 plums, I'm hoping some of these will stay on this tree and stay healthy enough that we can get some sort of harvest for them. And then the second plum tree that's down here is doing all right. It's not fruiting out nearly as much as the big plum, but it's doing fairly decent. I mean, you'll see there's some fruit. It's just a lot thinner and not quite as full as the big one. So fruit trees are doing great. The new fruit trees, the apple, this is our Fuji red. The top part of the tree, when we first got it, died. I just haven't trimmed that off, so you'll see it, the leaves about here. That's because everything above the leaves is dead. We just got to cut that off and it'll be fine. This other tree here, this has been growing really good. This is the Red Delicious, and you'll see this is looking really healthy. I don't see anything invasive on it. And then the Golden Delicious as well is doing really good. So all the new apple trees filling out and are growing beautifully out here in the orchard area. So that's everything with our fruit trees and our fruit bushes. And what's another update? What haven't I shown you guys lately? You guys have seen a lot on Facebook over the last couple weeks, the baby chicks that we have been incubating, and I think we had 36 eggs we put into the incubator. I think as of this morning, 25 or 26, somewhere in there, have hatched. So we've got a whole bunch of babies that we're gonna have to build a second coop for, and I plan on building that up here in the front part of our property. Actually, let's go. I'll show you where I'm planning on putting them. All right, I'm over here in the, what I call my side, front side field. It's right behind the greenhouse area. This is where my implements for my tractors are stored. Property line's right there at the T-posts. I've got this field out here. We don't do a whole lot. I just keep it mowed because of my implements. I'd eventually want some sort of lean-to or, I don't know, storage building of some sort out here would be pretty nice for all the implements and whatnot. But over on this side, there's like a little path that I put through here with the tractor recently, cleaning out some debris when we had the dumpster. So there's a little path. I'm thinking about somewhere right in this area putting another coop. Not as big as the main coop down there, but something that I can build a box that they can get out of the weather, and all 20 to 30 chickens can get up in it comfortably. And then we'll probably bring Silver down this way, introduce him to this flock eventually. Now, I say 20 to 30 chickens, but you got to keep in mind those are straight run chicks, meaning they haven't been sexed. So we'll just go on an average of 50%. So we're talking probably half of those being hens, half of those being roosters. The roosters, I'm not sure what we're going to do right now. Maybe bring them to auction, sell them. We'll just have to play that by ear once they get bigger. But for right now, we'll just let them grow together. If I put a box out here, the goal is to just have the coop here where they can go in and out every night and open up, but we're not going to build any fencing and stuff to contain the chickens here. They're just going to be our free range flock. Go around and help with the ticks and mites and the other insects around the yard, small rodents, and just help clean up the property. And they'll help maintain some of the grass and weeds as well. It'd be kind of neat to have our own chickens that we grew from our own chickens, had eggs that we incubated. Now we've got chicks of our chickens. It's really cool, guys. It's been a fun experience doing that. This is kind of where I plan on putting them, somewhere here in the back. And I do know there's a lot of predators. I'm hoping between our dogs being close to the house here, where the dogs and cats can still be in this area, it'll help deter some of the predators down a little bit. Air predators, not so much. We'll just have to play that by ear and adjust accordingly if we start having too many issues with predators or with any of the chickens getting picked off. So yeah, guys, that's what's going on the farm. There are a lot of moving pieces, a lot of animals to keep up with here as far as the goats, the pigs, the chickens. We've got the meat bird chicks, we've got our egg layer chicks for our free range flock inside here. And then with the garden, that's a big task. A lot of work's been going into the garden to get that set up and everything planted and weeded, and the infrastructure still needs to be done as far as the fencing and some of the lattice structure. I tell you what, it's just been really nice to see the grass and leaves and everything grow out here so rapidly. It's crazy how fast things are growing here in the last 2 weeks. Got some other starts over here. We got some tomatoes and beans, and these are my beautiful strawberry plants. So I'm a big fan of strawberries. Got a lot of rain yesterday, so these kind of got soaked up. They'll dry out here today with the sun. That's the update for today. I just wanted to bring you guys along to kind of show you what we've been doing, kind of what's going on the farm itself. We've been busy at the farmers markets every Thursday as well. Those have been phenomenal. I've been enjoying meeting everyone there. Anyone that hasn't come out to see us here at the Casual Farmers Market, come on out. We've got plenty of pork for sale. We've got fresh eggs. And as soon as those meat birds are ready, we'll have some fresh chicken, pasture-raised chicken as well. So it's gonna be delicious. All right, guys, thanks a lot for following along on today's video. I hope everyone has a great day. We'll talk to you guys later. See ya.